Grandfather by Rabindranath Tagore. Kailash Chandra Rai Chaudhary belonged to the famous and wealthy Zamindar Babu family of Nayanjore. They had rich taste, which was amply reflected in their lifestyle. They wore dhotis made of none other than the finest and the most expensive muslin from Dhaka. Once, a Nayanjore Babu spent lakhs of rupees at the wedding of his pet cat. Another planned a lavish party and turned night into a day by lighting thousands of lamps above, sprinkling fine silver strands and silver dust from above. But their extravagant lifestyle finally led them to penury. When Kailash Babu's father died, he had to sell off the family mansion and his land to arrange a lavish funeral feast. Kailash Babu was homeless and quite poor man now. He decided to go to Kolkata along with his only son. There his son died and ultimately death, leaving Kusum, a young daughter, behind. Kailash Babu rented a small house near ours and settled down with his granddaughter. He was a gentle and a kind man, and everyone in the neighborhood developed a liking for him. He always showed concern for all his neighbors, wished them well, and inquired after their well-being. Too, his clothes were old and worn out. He took great care of them. He would often put his shawl, coat, and a rug out in the sun, and later fold them away carefully. The only possessions that Kailash Babu had as a legacy and a reminder of his zamindari days were a silver sprinkler, a gold plate and a chain made of gold coins, and an old tattered set of ceremonial clothes, complete with a turban. Everything was good about the old man, but somehow I did not quite like him. He was boastful about his family glorious days. Though he never showed it, I realized that he looked down upon us because we did not belong to a zamindar family. However, we were a respectable and a reasonable rich family too. My father had worked hard and created his own wealth. He had also made sure that I received a good education so that I could find suitable employment for myself. Indeed, I was proud of this fact. Another reason why did not like Kailash Babu was his habit of pretense. But as he was otherwise a good-natured man, people did not mind the little vices. In fact, they increased his pretensions just to see him happy. They called him the Kurda, grandfather, out of affection and sheer respect. Kailash Babu loved to smoke the hookah, but could not afford his tobacco. So the neighbors would often bring over a kilo of that own tobacco. Kailash Babu would draw a few deep puffs and say, "This tobacco is good, but it's nothing like the excellent stuff we have with us." He would then beckon his old servant Ganesh and order in style, "Fetch some excellent tobacco for our guest." Ganesh would leave but soon come back with an excuse. "Babu, I can't find the cupboard keys." When the guest would be ready to leave, Kailash Babu would courteously say, "When are you all coming over for a meal?" And his friends would reply in a chorus, "It's too hot now, we will come sometime in monsoon." And when the rains finally arrived, they would complain about the bad weather and how wet it was, postponing the invitation to dry and sunny days. "Let the weather improve, we cannot go out in the rains." The Babus of Nayanjore had always lived in a huge palatial house, So everyone pretended that Kailash Babu now lived in a small rented house only because he could not find a better and a bigger house in Kolkata. It will take you 6-7 years to find a big house, and you can always go back to your mansion whenever you want to. The neighbors would comfort him. Even though they knew that he had sold off everything that his family owned in this country. Kailash Babu would in turn reply, "Oh, never mind, I prefer to stay here with you all," and the game of pretense would smoothly continue. His pretense continued to irritate me a good deal. Actually, there was another reason why I disliked him. I was fairly good-looking and well-educated young man with a bright future. I received marriage proposals from some of the wealthiest families of Kolkata. Not only were these girls fair and beautiful, but their families also offered handsome dowry. It gave me great pleasure to turn these offers down in a high and mighty manner. Kailash Babu's granddaughter was neither beautiful nor could they afford a handsome dowry. But the grandfather never sent a marriage proposal to me. He had once proudly declared, "The Babus of Nayanjore do not send marriages proposals for their daughters, and I'll not break this tradition." This annoyed me a great deal. One day, I decided to play a trick on him. Rich and affluent families always caught his attention and fancy. I remembered an instance when a retired magistrate, in a bid to please Kailash Babu, had said that during a meeting with the Lad Sahib, the British governor. The latter had mentioned that the true gentlemen in Bengal were the Rajas of Burdwan and the Babus of Nayanjore. Kailash Babu was delighted, and thereafter, whenever he met this magistrate, he would ask, "How is Lad Sahib? Please give him my rewards. I'll visit him as soon as my carriage arrives." Of course, we were strongly aware that he did not have a carriage. This gave me vent to an idea of a practical joke. I told him that I had met the Lad Sahib and he had expressed a desire to visit Kailash Babu on a particular date and a particular time. The old man's delight and excitement knew no bounds. That afternoon, I helped my friend dress up as an Englishman and requested him to go to Kailash Babu's house in a carriage. The old man was ready in his old ceremonial robes and turban. He had spread his old shawl on a chair for the Sahib to sit. As the Lad Sahib reached his house, Kailash Babu's servant Ganesh sprinkled rose water from the silver sprinkler. Kailash Babu had arranged the precious gold chain on a gold plate. He read out a long welcome speech in chaste Urdu. My friend listened in silence, not opening his mouth, fearing that Kailash Babu would learn the truth any moment. While taking his leave, my friend took the gold plate, chain, silver sprinkler and shawl. Kailash Babu thought it was custom and chose not to object. I watched the episode from a hidden corner in the house. When I stopped myself from laughing, I rushed into a room. Then I froze. Sitting on the bed, Kusum wept bitterly. She looked at me angrily and asked, "Why are you making fun of my Tagore? What wrong he has done to you?" I felt miserable and could not reply. Next day, I went to return everything to Kusum. I found Kailash Babu relating the incident to her and Kusum and grazing him sweetly. I then realized the extent of love and affection that these two people shared with each other. A few days later, I visited Kailash Babu with a marriage proposal for Kusum. We are from a humble family and stand nowhere in comparison to yours. I drifted off. Before I could finish, the Zamindar Babu hugged me and wept silently. "We are so poor. I could never imagine such good fortune for Kusum. She is indeed lucky," he managed to gush out. It was for the first time he had admitted he was poor. I was ashamed that I had played a rather heartless trick on him, while he had a great affection for me. Kailash Babu was indeed a true gentleman. This is the end of the book Grandfather by Rabindranath Tagore. Thank you.